ever like scroll endlessly through restaurant reviews, But then one friend, just one, gives a recommendation and suddenly that's all that matters.
It's like all those other opinions just fade away, right?
Exactly. Makes you realize it's not just about star ratings, it's that trust factor. And that is influencer marketing in a nutshell.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How we're hardwired to trust people over, well, faceless corporations.
Totally. So today we're diving into how to leverage that human element with this awesome guide from Inkbot Design. And thankfully, we've got our marketing expert here to break it down.
Happy to be here. What's really interesting is how much this shift from corporations to trusted voices is actually backed by data.
Oh yeah, this guide had a stat that blew my mind. Like 61% of consumers trust influencer recommendations more.
Versus only 38% for branded content. That's huge EE.
More than double. So, okay, I'm sold on the why. But where do I even begin if I want to use this for my brand? Is it just finding the biggest social media star out there?
See, that's where it gets a bit more nuanced. Bigger isn't always better.
Right. Got to be the right fit, not just the biggest name.
Exactly. It's about understanding those different tiers of influence.
Okay, break it down for us.
So you've got your micro-influencers, super dedicated niche communities. Then you've got your macros, kind of that sweet spot between reach and still being relatable.
And then the mega influencers. Millions of followers, the whole shebang.
Right. Each has pros and cons depending on what you're aiming for.
So instead of chasing millions of followers, it's more about, like, whose audience is my ideal customer?
Spot on.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond just demographics even. It's about the quality of that engagement. Are people really into their content or just scrolling by?
Right, because a million followers who ignore you doesn't really get you anywhere.
Exactly. And this is where things like digging into their content style matters. Past collaborations, too. Remember that Fire Festival fiasco?
Oh, how could I forget?
Prime example of influencer marketing gone wrong. They had huge names.
But a total disconnect with what they actually stood for.
Yes. So look beyond the follower count. Do they actually engage with people? Or is it just sponsored post after sponsored post?
So it's got to be a value match as much as anything.
100%. You want someone who believes in your brand so that authenticity comes through. It's a partnership, not just a transaction.
And we're back. Now, last we left off, we had found our perfect influencer match. Values aligned, audiences meshing beautifully.
Ready to rock and roll.
Exactly. But how do we actually build a campaign that makes that good vibe translate into results?
Right, because good vibes alone don't pay the bills, sadly.
Sadly not. So where do we start?
Crystal clear strategy. Can't just wing it. First question. What are your goals for this specific campaign?
Okay, so is it about getting our name out there, boosting awareness?
Could be. Or is it tied to a specific product you launch? Trying to own a new market niche?
Ah, so your goals then shape everything else.
100%. From the content itself to, honestly, how much you're going to spend. That's a big one I get asked about.
Makes sense. What's this going to cost me is the eternal question.
Right. And unlike, say, a billboard where there's a set price, influencer marketing, it's all over the map.
Yeah, it feels a little Wild West sometimes from what I've seen. So how do you even budget for that?
Good question. No magic formula, sadly. And influencers' reach, their engagement rate, even what your campaign involves, it all factors in.
So where do you even start?
Start broad.
Yeah.
What's your overall marketing budget? What percentage are you comfy allocating to this?
Okay, that's manageable. Then what?
Then you've got options. One way is a flat fee. Influencer delivers X Instagram posts, Y stories, done deal.
Predictable, at least. But not very motivating for them to go above and beyond, maybe.
Exactly. That's where you have performance-based. They get a cut of any sales that come through their link, their code.
Ah, so they're really invested in it working.
Right. But some folks are wary of no guaranteed payout. It's like choosing between a salary or going full commission only.
I get it, different strokes. What about a hybrid approach, like a base, play less, bonus?
Many businesses land there. Guarantees the influencer's time is valued, but still incentivizes those results you want.
Win-win. Speaking of results, how do we measure this stuff? Likes and comments are nice.
But you want more than just ego boosting, right?
Right. Got to tie it back to the bottom line.
And that's where those KPIs come in. Not just jargon, they're your measurement tools. If your goal was awareness, you track reach, impressions, all that.
How far your message is spreading, thanks to them.
Yep. But if your goal was, say, selling a new product, click-through rates from their content to your site, conversions, actual ROI.
Connecting the dots between their post and someone hitting BUY, but keeping track of all that sounds overwhelming.
That's where good tools come in. Platforms like Hootsuite Insights, Sprout Social, even Tracker.
These are like influencer marketing dashboards instead of me with spreadsheets till dawn.
Exactly. Pull in data from all over so you get the big picture. Mentions, engagement, you name it.
Data-driven decisions, gotta love it. But I imagine even that doesn't tell us everything.
You're right. Numbers are great, but they don't capture human feeling.
It's like reading a book review that just tells you how many pages it has, not if it's any good.
Perfect analogy. So balance those metrics with qualitative stuff too. What are people saying in the comments?
Are they genuinely stoked about your brand or just there for the influencer's personality?
Exactly. That's why engaging with comments matters too. Answering questions, showing you're listening.
Building that human connection. Makes sense. But even with all this, what happens when things go sideways? Influencer makes a misstep. It reflects on your brand. We'll get into that right after the break. All right, we're back, and it's time to talk content. We've strategized, found our influencer soulmate.
Now it's showtime.
Exactly. But what should they actually be putting out into the world? Because it's not just any old post, right?
Right. Content is king, sure, but it's got to be the right HE kind of kingdom. It's about weaving together narratives that genuinely resonate, but also seamlessly integrate your brand.
Because no one wants to feel like they're being sold to by someone they trust.
Exactly. That's the tightrope walk, finding that sweet spot, showcasing your brand, but in a way that lets the influencer's authenticity shine through.
So what's the magic formula? What makes influencer content really stand out in that sea of noise?
Engagement, engagement, engagement. You got to grab people's attention, make them stop scrolling.
Tough crowd these days.
No kidding. So get creative. Different formats, humor, maybe even a little healthy controversy.
Ooh, got to be careful with that one.
Right, but the point is, shake things up.
It's about creating an experience, not just showing a product.
Exactly. And visuals, never underestimate those. High-quality photos, videos.
Because a picture's worth 1,000 words, but a video.
A video is a whole novel, especially
Yeah.
these days. But even with all that, it can't just be pretty, right? It's got to offer value, too.
What does value even mean in this context, though?
Think informative, entertaining, or inspiring. Give them something beyond just buy this. Maybe it's a tutorial using your product in a cool way, or a behind-the-scenes look at your brand's ethos.
So it's got to resonate on a deeper level, like add something to their life, even if it's just entertainment.
100%. And that brings us to specifics. Short-form video is king right now. No way around it.
TikTok, Reels, everyone's obsessed.
For good reason. They're quick, engaging, tons of potential there. Product demos, silly challenges, the sky's the limit. Then you've got your classic product review, but with that influencer twist.
That's where that trust we talked about really matters. It's not a commercial. It's like hearing it from a friend.
And honesty is key. People see right through BS, especially from someone they thought was genuine.
Yeah, if an influencer raves about everything, you start to tune them out.
For sure. Nuanced, honest opinions, that's what builds trust. Now, another cool tool is the influencer takeover.
Ooh, love those. But for those who don't know, what is that exactly?
Imagine handing your brand's social media to the influencer for a day, a weekend even. They become the voice, interacting with your audience, showing their take on things.
It's like a guest star on your channels. Fresh energy, new people tuning in.
Exactly. Great way to shake things up. And of course, never forget the classic contest or giveaway.
Who doesn't love free stuff? Plus, everyone's liking, sharing, trying to win.
It's a classic for a reason. But at its core, don't overthink it. Storytelling is still powerful.
The oldest trick in the book, but it works.
We're hardwired for stories, right? They tap into our emotions, our desires. Encourage those narratives that weave your brand into the influencer's world.
Because we don't buy from brands, really. We buy from people. We buy into stories, into that human connection.
And speaking of connection, influencer marketing is not a one-way street.
It's a relationship, not just shouting into the void.
Exactly. Encourage back and forth, respond to comments, answer questions, show you're listening.
Those interactions matter so much. So as we wrap up, any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Just this. Influencer marketing, done right, is powerful. Find the voices that match your values, create content that resonates on a human level, build genuine relationships. That's how you turn interest into loyalty.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So there you have it, folks. The WHY, the WHO, and the how of influencer marketing. Authenticity, engagement, connection. Keep those in mind and you'll be well on your way.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
The pleasure was all ours. And to our listeners, until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep those marketing wheels turning.